Jean Slater is set to immerse herself in the water of the Thames Estuary while dressed as a blushing bride in an upcoming episode of EastEnders. Actress Gillian Wright, 61, who has played the character since 2004, has filmed scenes showing Jean run into the sea at Southend as she suffers a manic episode due to her bipolar disorder. Jean's daughter Stacey, Lacey Turner, follows her in and desperately attempts to pull her up after her mother sinks to the bottom. In pictures released earlier this week, Gillian was seen on land in Walford before escaping to Southend, running through the crowds as Jean in her white gown, seemingly in a panic. The character had already become impulsive, and previously stole from her family to fund a weekend away with her boyfriend. And now, Jean is on the run from her loved ones with daughter Stacey and former son-in-law Martin Fowler, James Vi, in hot pursuit. Upcoming episodes will see Jean get into a fight with Stacey, who declares her parent dead to her. Stacey grows concerned when Jean reveals she is planning a surprise for the children. Following the arrest of serial killer Gray Atkins, Toby Alexander Smith, and the truth about Kush Kazimi's, Davud Gadami, death coming to light, Jean pressures Stacey to tell her son Arthur Brian Fowler Jr., whose father was Kush, what has happened. Arthur is Kush and Stacey's son but was adopted by the latter's former husband, Martin. Later on, Jean blocks the market by buying a bouncy castle, worrying Martin. Getting on the bouncy castle, Jean accidentally hurts Arthur and embarrasses herself, until Harvey Monroe, Ross Boatman, joins her. Stacey is frustrated that Harvey doesn't seem to understand her mother's bipolar disorder and bans her from being alone with the children until she sees a doctor, sparking a huge row. Jean angrily confronts Cat Slater, Jessie Wallace, about Stacey's ultimatum and tries to convince her she is more than capable of looking after the children. Later on, Jean manages to slip out to the tube station with Arthur, and she explains to him what happened to Kush. With help from Martin, Stacey finds Jean and Arthur but is devastated to discover what her mother has done. Later on, Harvey suggests to Jean to get out of London and Jean insists on leaving now and not waiting. They then leave for Southend to get away from their troubles back at Albert Square. Catching up with her mother at the seaside resort, Stacey is heard shouting sorry for lying to her, but what the tall tale was about is unclear. Chasing Jean into the water, both she and Stacey end up under the water before she pulls her to the surface and helps drag her back to shore. Martin was seen standing with two paramedics as the 4 days of filming in Essex climaxed. It comes as actress Gwen Taylor, 83, will be returning to EastEnders as Vi, the grandmother of Stuart Highway, Ricky Champ, and Callum Halfway Highway, Tony Clamp. Vi was last seen in November 2021 and left on bad terms with Stuart after he discovered she had another son who she had given up for adoption years ago. In an upcoming episode, Vi will return to Walford and try to help Stuart, who is refusing treatment for his cancer, but will Vi be able to get through to Stuart? EastEnders continues on BBC One on Monday at 7:30 p.m.